Hey friends, today I'm going to talk to you about a really horrible experience I recently had on Southwest Airlines. Um, Now, usually I don't fly on Southwest Airlines. It's a little too elite for me since I'm usually on Spirit or Frontier. But I decided to go all out. Well, it was the only route that would get me to St. Louis in time. So I took Southwest Airlines, but I had a horrible experience, and I wanted to talk to you about it and share it with you. Um, I'm discussing this in light of the fact that recently Southwest announced that they're going to change their free seating system that they've been having, for all these years. It had always worked out for me before, but what happened to me recently was really terrible, and it really would have been great if they had already adjusted that seating rule that they have. Now, I always sit when I'm on. Okay, I have like, you know, as you probably know, I'm a airline miles and points person with credit cards and that sort of thing. So I usually have things from Southwest like the Companion Pass or A List, those sorts of tiers and with status with Southwest. So that's pretty great. I earned that. Well, in a way, I did. But so I'm usually like the first one on the plane. And when I get on the plane, I get what I consider is the best seat since I'm the first one. Um, so I look for the best seat, and the best seat is the special emergency row extended seat. Now there are only two of them on Southwest on every Southwest flight. There's one on the right and one on the left. There are multiple rows of emergency exit, but there's only one where it not only gives you your seat, but also the seat in front of them is extended out. So you get, in a sense, a real long seat with multiple windows. It's almost like a mini kind of first class. And I sit there and I stretch out and I read a good book or whatever you can do on Southwest. So I did that the other day, and this one of the other passengers got very belligerent and very upset. While I was putting my bag under the seat, not under the seat in front of me because there was no seat in front of me, but under two seats in front of me. I put my little bag in there, and I sat down and I was reading my book, some romance novel or something, and this big burly man comes up and says, "Excuse me, are you 6 feet tall?" Like he says that to me. Now, obviously, okay, I'm not exactly 6 feet tall. I'm 5'6", but so is Tom Cruise, and you don't hear him complaining about it. So I was like, all I said was, "This is my seat." And then he said, like, "That's a seat for like a tall person, a 6 foot tall person." And I just said, "This is my seat." And then the guy sits down. He chooses another seat with his wife, and he is like really upset. And he keeps saying, "Some people are just, some people are just selfish." Like he's having this full-on loud conniption fit right in front of me, right? Well, I mean, two seats, and they're in, there's three seats. I'm the one at the window, and the one, and then him and his wife are like in that little section right in the front area. But of course, no one's directly in front of me because there is no seat there. And he's sitting there talking and mumbling, and it's starting to like attract attention. And I'm like, oh gosh, someone's gonna probably film this. What's gonna happen? Is he gonna get up and like try to fight me or something? Like, should I get ready for YouTube? Um, that didn't happen, which is a good thing. And then at one point, he turns around and says, "What did you say?" And I didn't even say anything. Like he was already imagining that I was trying to pick a fight. even though I hadn't said anything. And then at that point, a flight attendant did see what was going on, and she goes up to the man and like puts her hand on the headrest and says, "Sir, I'm going to need you to stop," like that. Like it had gotten to that level where he was starting to like, people were turning their heads and looking at what the commotion was. And the man's wife was also kind of embarrassed. She kept telling him to stop too. And he was just huffing and puffing. I'm like, I mean, he really, I'd never seen this kind of entitlement before. Like he just thought just because he happens to be big, that seat just goes to him, I kind of get where he's coming from. Maybe he thought I was entitled because, well, I don't see why he would. I mean, I got the seat. I got the seat first, If I had wanted to argue, I could have said, well, I paid for of course, I don't pay for flights, but I could have said something like, well, I paid to be one of the first people in, and this is the seat I chose, and this is Southwest Airlines policy. Anyone can pick any seat, but that guy was sort of trying to take advantage of the whole anyone can pick any seat thing. And he thought that meant that people would just move out of the way and make room for him at all times because he just happens to be big. And I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. And that's why I think Southwest needs to hurry up and change their little system. That way, I can show him on my phone or whatever that is my seat. Like I got that seat. I paid for that seat. That is my assigned seat. Now you go sit in yours way in the back somewhere by the toilets where you belong. But as of now, it's not like that. And it's like a freaking dog eat dog, wild, wild west. It's bad. And Southwest isn't going to implement this new assigned seat thing until 2026. How long does it take to implement a little seating change? I mean, whatever. So I am not going to be flying Southwest for quite some time, probably not until 2026, because I just think that was awful, an awful experience that I shouldn't have had to deal with. That was my seat because I said it was my seat. And until Southwest says otherwise, I'm allowed to pick my seat, and I got there first. If he wanted to get that seat, he should have gotten A-list and churned his credit cards too, and he should have been the first one in there, and then he could have picked that seat. But you can't shame someone just because I happen to not be the tallest person in the world. But yeah, there was quite a lot of extra space in there. It was almost comical that I was trying to stretch out, but I was practically laying, completely horizontal, and there was still plenty of room up ahead. Yeah, that would have been great. He was probably all constricted and everything like that. But you know what? That's his problem, and he should have picked, Delta 1 first class or whatever, and I don't know, maybe stop bulking up with the roids or whatever he was on. So anyway, that was my little story. It was a horrible experience. I didn't like it. I was shamed for being too petite, and I had to just sort of deal with it. And the whole time I was, kind of worried that he was going to get up and explode or something and yell at me again, but he didn't. It wasn't like on the memes or YouTubes or whatever. It was a real life. I mean, I guess those are real situations too, but yeah, it was kind of scary. But I survived it, of course. I didn't argue. I didn't confront. The only thing I ever said was, "This is my seat. This is my seat." And I waited for the flight attendant, and I was very pleased that the flight attendant said something about that. They didn't have to, but they could tell that something was escalating. Anyway, so from now on, I'm going to just stick to Frontier and Spirit, because those are the drama-free airlines, in my opinion. Because at least they let you know what your seat is, and there can't be any issues with it. Anyway, thanks for listening to my story. Be safe out there. See you next time.